Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the Super Robinson Bros Supercast. This is the podcast formerly known as Gamepad Inc. We are changing our name, coming back, redoing our webcomics from the ground up, making new comics, doing everything we were doing, but only bigger, better, and much more sustainably so that we can do this for the long haul. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and then we've got some games to talk about as well. Anything you want to get off the top of your chest, Nick, right off the bat here?
No, I think you kind of covered it there. The official name here is Super Robinson Bros. So like Nate said, we're going to be doing the same kind of stuff. It's just on a slightly different rhythm. We've switched up a few things over on our Patreon and just kind of like what to expect. So we'll cover a little bit of that here out the gates. And then like Nate said, there were a couple comics that we kind of had that we were sitting on for a while. Some of them we recorded a long time ago. And you'll be able to tell once you see them because Nate's art style's gotten.
You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead here. Let's talk about the basics
stuff at the end.
Yeah.
All right. So what's this whole like new premise, Nate? Talk to me like I'm a dummy.
Okay. Well. So no change than normal. So what I'm doing here, what we're doing with Super Robinson Bros is basically building on the back of what we were doing with Gamepad Inc., right? Like we were doing a game review webcomic. We're still doing that. But we're changing the name for a couple of really good reasons. One, we never really felt like Gamepad Inc. was super self-explanatory. It wasn't the best name.
It's just a bad name.
We thought we were being clever with it, and it ended up being like, well, I don't understand. People are, like, I don't understand what ink and then the pad. Is it a gamepad?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not. It's a play on words, but then what's the ink? I don't know. We were talking about. Anyways.
One of my favorite thing about that was we would get emails occasionally from people about manufacture of gamepads. So that was like
that is true. That is true.
Some business opportunities we never even really thought we would be involved with.
That's a good point. And the other thing is that as the comic evolved, and even back when it was like just me doing the comic by myself, it became clear that the thing that was best about the comic was like hanging out with my brother Nick here, making comics and talking about games and playing the games. So we decided to kind of like double down on that. So Super Robinson Bros, as the new name, allows us to kind of like first off play into some kind of game illusions, and then second allows us to focus on what made our experience the best, which was just like hanging out and talking games with each other. So that's what we're going to kind of focus on going forward.
Not to mention, we never really were breaking the hottest titles day of kind of thing. So yeah, kind of like Nate said, the best part is just kind of hanging out, talking about the game, hearing our thoughts, and honestly interacting with all of you out there. So that's kind of like the respin is really just kind of amping those pieces up and kind of not forgetting about, but downplaying, I think, a little bit more of those other aspects.
Yeah, so what Nick's kind of getting into is like we are changing some of our structure. Mostly we're continuing what we were doing before. Like I said, we're still doing webcomic game reviews. We're still doing videos of the games we're playing. We're still obviously doing podcasts now again, where we kind of like recap what we've been playing. But we're kind of changing our focus a little bit in that we're committing ourselves to doing in the name of sustainability and sanity, because we both have day jobs and families. We are going to commit to one comic review a month, at least one. It may be.
Wait a minute. That's 12 a year.
That's 12 a year. The good math, Nick. It may well be that we end up doing more comics, and actually that's kind of our goal. But we are going to commit to doing one per month because real life gets in the way, and these things take a little bit longer than your average webcomic to make, because you got to play the game, you got to like record video, Nick and I got to find time to do a podcast, and oftentimes there's more than one comic for the review, so it takes a bit. But we have aspirations of doing more than one per month. But we are going to take that one comic per month and kind of make that the focal point of our Patreon. So whereas Patreon before was a nice bonus for people who were interested in kind of behind the scenes content or early comics, picking what we play, all that stuff sticks around. But we had a kind of a wall where we had a thing called Game Club. I don't know. We had a few game clubbers out there, and the thing that was really great about it was that we would once a month pick a game and play that game with them in a exclusive Discord channel. And those discussions and those kind of like the experiences we shared together, I thought were some of the best things from Gamepad Inc. And they were a thing that not many people got to enjoy because it was our highest tier Patreon thing. So what we are going to do is when we pick that game every month, we have already created a play along channel on Discord where anybody can jump into, and if it's a game that they're interested in playing along with us, they can go ahead and jump in there with us and play along and share their experiences or comments. We'll be sharing screen caps and whatnot from our own gameplay over the course of that month.
No entry fee. Right?
No entry fee required. Just pop in there. Yeah. Hopefully just like our Discord channel in general, it's open to everybody. But it's a good way to interact with us, ask us questions about what we're thinking about a game, or see our kind of like progress as we play through it, or again play along with us.
And with that being once a month, one a month, I should say, for that duration, it also opens it up a little bit more for folks who take a little bit longer with a particular game or can't hop into it right away. People can kind of come at it with their own pace. You can mark spoilers appropriately. Hopefully everybody does that. We'll see. But yeah, it gives everybody just kind of an opportunity to talk about something for a month, keep that core theme present, and then move on to the next one. And at the very end of that, of course, like we've talked about, you'll continue to see the things like this podcast, our video playthrough, or at least not playthrough, start. Yeah. And obviously the comic.
Yeah. So that's kind of the big change here. It's a small one, but it's a big one for us because in our absence from Gamepad Inc., it's become clear that it's something that we really enjoyed and we've missed it terribly. But we also couldn't keep it up the pace that we kind of set initially, especially as real life got in the way. So we feel very comfortable with doing one comic a month, or one comic review, I should say, because it's often more than one comic. And we'll just kind of feel it out from there. If we can do more per month, we will, but we're not going to commit to that. We are also going to be bringing back patron picks. So if you recall, this was a way for our our lowest tier entry for our Patreon, which is $1, gets you a vote. And the tweak we're making here is that we're going to come to our patrons with a selection of games already ready for them to choose from, instead of it having it be a kind of a write-in thing. Which
does that mean that the wheel of picking is gone, Nate?
I think it does. I was looking at a wheel of picking video the other day, just kind of like, we're gonna lose this, right? But I think maybe there's a way that we can kind of still trumpet the announcement of a new game. And Nick and I have talked about wanting to bring back the write-in candidates, write-in nominations for games at some point in time. But because this takes so much of our time, we honestly we want to make sure we're having fun with it and playing games that Nick and I actually want to play. So if we're only playing one game a month and we hate that game every month, Super Robinson Bros will collapse into the sea very quickly. So I think
sure we'll find some way to bring back the wheel picking.
Yes,
one day maybe.
I think
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yes. But yeah,
there is a plan. We shall see a few months into it.
Games that I think that we at least can offer something interesting to our perspective. Obviously it's going to be more interesting to hear us talk about something that we're engaged with. For it could be good, it could be bad, but we at least have some thoughts about it rather than just kind of playing something as a gimmick and then us having to continue playing it for hours and hours and hours.
Exactly.
And thinking about it for even more time, and then thinking about how to write a funny comic about it for even more time, and you get the idea. So Nate, you mentioned so Game Club is no longer a paid tier in our Patreon. Right. It's just open to everybody.
Yep.
I didn't know any of this until I got on this stream here, this podcast.
This whole thing's a surprise.
I'm just like, wow. I thought you were just calling me up. So there's still patron picks, so people can select.
That's right.
And have their vote count for just $1 a month. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can choose what game you play next.
Any other patron
most of our Patreon reward tiers are back. We've kind of simplified things in general, so I encourage you to kind of take a peek. We are resetting all of our Patreon pledges, or rather our reward tiers. So our plan here is to relaunch Gamepad Inc. I see I almost made the mistake. We are going to start new comics on the 1st of May with Super Robinson Brothers. That will be the first
Whoa,
time.
wait, is that an exclusive announcement right
That is,
now?
I am happy to exclusively announce on our own proprietary podcast that we will be
Whew,
releasing our first new comic the week of May 1st.
feels good.
For Super Robinson Brothers. And then going forward, we will be doing it on a monthly basis at least once. But what was I saying? I was talking about Patreon. Oh,
We're
so
talking about the Patreon,
we'll
the
be
different
we're
tiers.
resetting our tiers. I encourage everybody who was a patron to go back and look and see, make sure that what you had before you're still happy with, or make adjustments as you see fit. For people who are listening, maybe aren't patrons, take a peek. Again, some of the stuff you can do, like Nick said, voting on what we play next is really cool. You can kind of impact what our actual review slate looks like. There's some behind the scenes content there if you're interested in our process, or how the comics come together, or you can get comics early if that's your thing, because we kind of roll our comics out over the course of a week sometimes. To complete the package. But if you're impatient like me and you just want to get them on day one, that's the way to go. There's some other tiers in there, some other rewards in there, but they're more minor. So take a peek. Go to patreon.com/Super Robinson Bros for all that info. And there's one last little bonus here, Nick. I'm sorry I'm jumping all
What?
this on you at once and just like having
There's
notes.
more news?
But wait, there's more.
Whoa!
We
Look under
are
your seat, everybody!
between now and May 1st.
What if you're driving?
Between now and May 1st, we will be as kind of our way to say goodbye here to Gamepad Inc. and to kind of just kind of wash our hands clean of everything and move
I
on.
have no idea what you're going to say because it might not have been what I was talking about at the very beginning.
We will be releasing a selection of quote unquote lost comics, so comics that never quite made it to release for one reason or another. Sometimes it's just as simple as like we never got around to recording a podcast or a video, and sometimes it's honestly the comics not that great. But for those of you who are like interested in seeing all the wrinkles and all the weird things that we made, this is a special treat.
Yeah,
To
for
kind
all
of
you
like
diehards out there.
for all you diehards, we will be releasing the vast majority of these are going to be patron exclusives for all tiers. So we'll be posting those in the coming days, and then I think a couple of them we'll publish live. I still definitely like some of these comics, but as Nick mentioned earlier, like not only is it hard to look at now, having like advanced my art skills a bit, I think over the course of doing Gamepad Inc.
They're still pretty good.
They're okay. Some of them are pretty. Some of them are my favorite comics actually of all of Gamepad Inc. A couple of them in particular, but the rest of them I think they'll really hits and misses, but they're interesting like historical pieces, I
Yeah.
suppose. So
Well, and I think all of these two are before we made the switch over from doing, part of what I think made the Gamepad Inc. unsustainable as it was is that we kind of kept the same clip in terms of like cadence and rhythm, but we decided to like basically make at least a couple different comics per game. And so these are all from the era where we were looking to be more of a weekly webcomic, and it would be one single strip per game. So they're all a lot shorter, but it's interesting to see also how that evolved.
Yep. So hopefully you guys enjoy those. Again, they'll be on our Patreon our Patreon feed for all patrons here in the next couple of weeks before May 1st. And really, Nick, I think that's it. That's all the news we have to spend. But we're going to talk about those lost games right now, since they never got the full treatment that they deserved.
Yes,
We're going to
I
kind
don't
of
even remember some of these.
I know.
So
I'm not
there
having
should
to
be
rack
some
my
riveting
brain.
listening.
We're gonna do lightning round here on just I think there's 7 or so games.
Do you have like a lightning round sort of theme or soundbite that you snagged? If not, maybe just make one up on the spot with your mouth.
That's a no. That's definitely not gonna happen. Maybe I'll edit in some of our sweet sound effects from our music.
Can't go wrong with the air horn.
Yeah, just see our listeners just bleed off here of the course of the
Tanked
episode.
at this point. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
so
what
weird.
What was there?
I don't know. What could it be?
All right, you ready to do these?
I think so.
All
Okay,
right,
Nick,
you have most of the knowledge, and this was also in the time where
you were
Nate
playing all these games, right?
a lot of games. I think that's also one of the bigger differences here is that I'm gonna try to play every single one of these 12, whereas Nate was just a madman and he just would play so many games, and some of them I'm just like, you know what, more power to you. You go play that. Looks pretty bad. We'll rate it. We'll see what it comes out as, but go for it. So we're gonna do these in alphabetical order. Nate, are you ready?
Okay, Nick, Hit me. The
You do your
last
stretches?
comics we ever. I did not do my stretches. Crap. Okay, never mind. I was gonna take a quick intermission. I'll do my stretches. No, okay, fine. Let's just go. This is the last. I feel like we gotta do like a 21 gun salute for Gamepad Inc. here and just like move on. But this will have to suffice.
Yeah. No weapons though. All right.
What do you got?
Game number 1. Devil Daggers.
Devil Daggers. Wow, that was a crazy game. Remember this one, Nick? I don't know. You didn't play it, right? None of these you played practically.
I remember the video of this one that may or may not ever be seen.
Yeah.
Some of these too, I remember we had like big technical difficulties, so we'd like get all the way through like a video or podcast recording or something, and then find out it wasn't going.
Yeah, that's kind of how these things went.
Or we recorded it like 5 different times, and then we're like, I don't want to talk about that game ever again. But thankfully, some of those are so far in the past that I don't recall. I do remember. I remember you were kind of like walking around in the darkness. It kind of had like some like Doom-esque vibes from a graphical fidelity, original Doom. And you probably had like a shank, and you're just in the darkness shanking people, just stabbing.
Nope, that's your Saturday night, Nick. Nope, sorry. No, this is you're kind of there. You are in the darkness. There's like it's small. It's basically a quick score-based first-person shooter. I can't think of a better way to describe it, where you are stuck in a small arena. It's dark. You're gonna fight these enemies. You have like a hand that fires like fire or something, little projectiles. There's definitely not a shiv. Nick's doing the shiv motion on video here, and you're just trying to kill the enemies and stay alive as long as you can.
Because each one is like a little like it's just like a round every time. Like you're just trying to beat your old time.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it's like a square-based FPS. Like you're going to die, and in most cases you're going to die in like a minute or less. It is a brutally difficult game. The thing is, though, as you play, you gain some mastery of not only the mechanics and like figuring out how and where to kill the enemies, but like you'll recognize the patterns. They don't change. Like they mostly say the same. It's just a matter of like where they spawn. So it's this thing where you're just constantly beating your head against it. But it reminds me of games like Super Hexagon or something like that, where it's really difficult. But because it's so short, you can just like, okay, well, I died. Let's go again, and it's only 30 seconds, to 4 or 5 minutes. I don't think I ever got more than like 4 or 5 minutes.
Like torture.
It's
45
a fun,
or 4 to 5.
4 to 5. But it's
425.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got more than like 4 hours in, and then no.
Is there do you know of? Is there like a way to beat it?
I don't actually. That's a good question. I don't think so.
going?
I think you just keep going. I think it's just a high score thing. It's like Geometry Wars back in the day. It's just like get the best score you can. I recommend it if you're looking for like a quick paced first person distraction, or like palate cleanser between games.
But you're just like a masochist or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not a game that you beat, and it's not a game that like. I don't know. I rarely walked away feeling satisfied because I was always like, damn it, I should have gotten better. I didn't do as well as I did last time, or something like that.
Whoa! I think you just like made us like double mature here with that. You just dropping that D word.
Damn it. Okay.
Gosh. Hey. All right. So here's the real test of it, then, Nate. Do you remember what you gave it? Out of 5.
I didn't know we were doing this.
Oh no! Don't look it up. That's cheating.
I'm not looking it up. I'm trying. I'm staring blankly into space. I would guess a 3.
Well, history is a little less kind to folks if you're just working the memory. You gave it a 4?
I gave it a 4. Okay, well, there you go.
Play it.
Ugh, I don't know if I agree with that.
Play Devil Daggers, y'all.
it's a fun little thing.
Well, you know what? We haven't published these yet, so you could always
change it. Yes.
Change them.
Quick to Photoshop.
That seems unfair. All right. Anything else you want to say about Devil Daggers?
Nope. Let's bring it on. Next game.
All right. The next game that we played, I played this one. Oh, man. Takes me back. I was looking forward to this one for so long. And then I played it. And then, well, I never finished it. Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, man. I loved this game. I thought it was terrific.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I just loved the way it looked. I just wanted to love it so much. It was a fun game, but man, it was a bit of a slog.
Was it too hard for you? I forget.
I think it was way too hard for me.
Yeah, it's a challenging game. It's basically like a Zelda mixed with
Yeah.
like a fighting, not a fighting game, but like an action game. It's got some pretty demanding combat. It is top down, pixel based art where you're, exploring an overworld. But I think there's like it's a smaller game than a normal Zelda. Um,
Mhm.
it
Kind of.
I really enjoyed it. The music's amazing. I still listen to that soundtrack.
Yeah, the music is probably the best part of the whole
The
thing.
visuals are terrific, but it's a game where like you could choose which way you wanted, like which of the four
I was
dungeon areas you wanted to go
Yeah, I
in.
feel like you're always kind of circling back, or like there's like
Yeah,
zones you'll see that are locked off, and then you really got to work your way through it. And I couldn't remember if there were like different difficulties to those. So like, hey,
they
you
were.
probably shouldn't pick that one straight out the bat, but that'll
Yes.
sour you pretty quick if you're not quite prepped.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Dark Souls in that where it's like you can go to a few different options. You have a few different options for where you want to go, but like they may be of varying difficulties, and I think that might have been where you got in the wrong side of that.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't go down the easy street
I,
and then bailed. But yeah, it was one that I remember I kept wanting to go back to. But when
it's
you're working
a
hard for Gamepad Inc.,
you ain't got
you just
time.
you ain't got time to go back. You got to move on to the next one.
That was I still think about that game, and actually I thought about replaying it fairly recently. The thing that we didn't like about it, if I recall, beyond being a wuss and not being able to beat it, was
Oh,
that there wasn't much of a story. Like the story was kind of left to interpretation,
mm,
like too much. So like I think that's what the comic was about. Was like I don't even know who I am or why I'm doing these things
hmm,
or what the
right.
situation of the world is or who the characters are, and it was such a well crafted thing that you just wanted all that, and it wasn't. It just was not providing it.
Right, right. And I
But
remember there being like a lot of clues that made you want to know stuff. Like I remember they're like little sunken kind of artifacts, and it seems like
yeah,
there's like this future stuff mashed up with this like kind of ancient looking stuff. But then it's just sort of like, well, that looks awesome. What does it mean? Whatever. Just go
yep,
hack and slash that dude's head off. So, Nate, I like how you're on the spot for all of these,
yeah.
but
I did not expect
whatever.
this. You turned this
Yeah.
around. I did not
Ooh.
appreciate this.
Yeah, this is great. Oh man, I have so much power here. I mean, I think this one's pretty obvious, but what do you think we gave this?
I think we gave this a 5.
Yeah, we
I
gave it
think
a 5. We loved it. Definitely play Hyperlight Drifter. Plus, it's so old now that I think you can kind of find it, for probably a pretty good price, and if
yeah,
not in like Game Pass or something like that, easy ways to acquire it. So
yep,
definitely go in there, poke around, and give it a go. It's even just sitting on the menu system, listening to the tunes and looking at the artwork is good enough.
yep.
All right,
Check out
now
that
before we
Disaster
get too
Piece album at the
comfortable,
very least.
yeah, no kidding. Okay, before we got too comfortable, you just compared this to another game. What game do you think that might be? What franchise?
Zelda.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
wow. We're also
Neither.
going in alphabetical order of
Yeah.
the ones that we know we have. All right, this is Breath of the Wild. Nate played it on Switch. I
Yeah.
don't have a Switch, so I didn't play this thing, but it still kills me every day because it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those modern classics, Nick. It's a game you've got to find time for and find a Switch for. Don't your kids want a Switch at this point? Like I feel like they've been clamoring for a Switch.
Yeah, you know what? When they're a little bit older, I just showed them some of that NES original. We
Yeah.
tried playing some Mario Kart. It was a disaster.
I
So maybe in a
say
little.
I say get them the Switch and then take it for the next 80 hours so that you can play Zelda.
Oh,
Uh,
80 hours. Yep.
it is a terrific game. I mean, at this point, everyone's heard everything positive about Breath of the Wild, and so we're not really necessarily breaking any story here.
Yeah, good point.
If
All
you
right.
haven't,
Anything
if you
unique you want
haven't,
to say?
I think it's still worth a look if you somehow like Nick haven't gotten around to it. I think it's kind of like broken a lot of ground for the games that have come since then in terms of like here's kind of an open world without any structure. In terms of like you have to go to this dungeon first or second or third, which was
Right.
really unique for a Zelda game, and other games have kind of starting to take some of those cues. At the time, it felt a little goalless at times, but it was a game that like it rewarded exploration, and I think our comic was about that very thing, where it was like it's a game where you are going to take it, first off it sets up this very urgent crisis, and then it's like, okay, well then go ahead and explore the world and do your thing, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I can go off and find Korok seeds for 80 hours and the thing's going to be just fine until I come back and actually want to fight Ganon. And yeah, sure enough. So yeah, I think that game is still the best thing on the Switch from the games I've played.
Is it worth buying a Switch for? Just that game?
I mean, you get it with the Switch Lite these days. You can get it for like $200. I think so. If you're a
Wow,
big
a
Zelda
$200
fan,
game. You guys heard it here first, folks.
if you're a big Zelda fan, it's probably worth it alone. But if not, I would
Well, if
say
you're a big
there's
Zelda
plenty
fan,
on
you probably
the Switch at this
yes.
point to worth playing. But yeah, man, I think we gave this a 5. I think that's a pretty easy one right there.
We did. These are some softballs here. Yeah, we give it a 5.
On,
I mean,
come on,
I give
come
it
on.
5 just even just looking at the picture of it. So,
Give me a tough one.
all right, this is the middle point. This next one is the middle point.
Take a
All right,
breath.
take
Okay.
a little breather.
Yep. Stretch the arms.
So 4 more left total. We've done 3. Okay, this one, oxen free. I think. Yeah, this is
Oxen free. Is that what you said? Okay.
oxen free.
We both played this one.
We did. I
Yeah.
think it was one of the a little behind the scenes. I think this was one of the very first games we played.
Yeah. I think there is a full on
Years.
podcast and video for this that for whatever reason we just never released. Maybe we'll find a way to get them out there for the patrons here. But,
I loved this game.
yeah.
Let's talk about a soundtrack that I still listen to. This thing is so good.
Yeah.
So
scientific.
good.
Yeah.
It's got such good vibes. The art style, like that. I remember there are pieces about it that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but overall, it was such a cool immersive experience. I really really enjoyed this game, and it's so short too that I just want to like go back in that world.
It was a kind of an adventure game, right? Like it's these kids trapped on this island, almost like a Stranger Things style world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You're kind of wandering around, just controlling different kids and giving different dialogue responses. There's not much more to it than that, which was a little frustrating to me because it's not like a classic adventure game where there's a bunch of inventory management. It's more just about the dialogue choices and the story that you
Right.
kind of encounter. But I really
There's
liked
some
it.
very simple like puzzles and things like that, I think. But yeah, generally speaking, it was just kind of getting the gist of it. I mean, it was all about the story, so
Yeah,
and I thought it was an interesting one.
it was a good one. It was an okay story, I thought, but the tone and the theme was really strong. Like
Yeah.
the vibe was. It was oozing vibe and not necessarily a pleasant vibe. Kind of because it kind of like it catches you cold because it's like, oh, it's a sweet little story with beautiful art about these kids, and then it's like, oh God, what is happening
Yeah.
to them? This is terrifying. It's a cool
definitely
dichotomy
unsettling.
there. I think if I had to guess, we gave this a 4.
Oh man, right on. You're getting better at this.
It's almost like
we
I've
gave it
been
a
looking
4.
at these
We should play
comics
it.
recently, preparing them to be released.
Hey, whoa! That's cheating, man. I just told you. Oh man. Yep,
Actually,
we
I
gave
totally
it a 4.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Would you have
And I
gone
feel
back
like-
and changed that? Would you have made it a 5 in retrospect?
No, I don't think so. Because I remember there were some pretty there were a couple flaws that made it certainly not like you need to go play this game, stop everything that you're doing and find a way. But definitely enough to kind of push it up from a 3.
Yeah,
So again, I would say go check it out.
yeah, it gets a little repetitive if I remember. Like some of the puzzles are just kind of like
Yeah, but I also remember it being so short that it's just kind of like by the time you've seen the 2 tricks, then you're kind of out.
that's fair.
All right, this next one, this was an early one too. I barely have a recollection of this thing. The Swindle.
Oh wow, yeah. Oof. Swindle is a 2D stealth thief, like burglary simulator, kind of like a high comedy.
So life
you know,
skills.
yeah. It's trying to be, funny, and it's a kind of heavy on the platforming and navigating a difficult environment to try to find the money and get out without alerting guards, basically.
Okay, so kind of like Mark of the Ninja.
Yeah, except if Mark of the Ninja was terrible to control and your character was like constantly slipping around and you were like trying to do stealth but never really, sure of your footing.
Ooh.
It's got a really interesting art style, which I think is maybe the best thing I can say about it.
I do remember that. Yeah.
It's from we've actually done a couple comics about the developer of this game of theirs. Like they did oh gosh, I'm forgetting. Behold the Kickmen.
The Kickman game. Yeah.
Behold the Kickmen was like their soccer game, and it's like they've got this great sense of British humor that really attracted me to this originally, along with the art style. And it's an interesting game with some really cool ideas. I think it's almost like it's got a roguelike kind of structure to it, where you take a run at the game and you try to see how far you can get as you level up and things and get different abilities, which are cool. But to me, it never felt like it lacks polish, and it never quite felt like everything kind of came together very well. Like there were beyond the controls, it didn't seem like some of the progression was super balanced, and yeah, I don't know. It definitely did not leave me wanting more, which is unfortunate.
So you probably didn't give this a 5?
I'm gonna guess I gave it a 2.
2? A 2?
Is that wrong?
No, that's spot on. You're getting really good at this. So 2 for us equates to ignore it. So basically, disregard, move on.
It's not bad, but there's other options, better options.
There are other options. There are a lot of other options, and yeah, in this day and age, it's certainly not worth probably wasting time on a game that's not holding your interest or has some critical flaws. So,
amen.
Okay, this next one, Thumper.
Ooh, Thumper. Yeah, I liked Thumper. Thumper was great.
Is everywhere now. I've seen this since we talked about it originally. I think this one might have been one of the like lost. We recorded it a couple times type of thing. But I've seen this thing like everywhere. It's on every platform now. And if you haven't seen it by now, you've been living under a rock probably. Yeah, Nate. So Thumper, what's this thing all about?
Thumper is a game that, yeah, like you said, it's on every platform at this point. But it's like, I think the way they describe this game is it's a rhythm violence game, which is I've never heard that before. Yeah. And I think it's totally accurate. If you somehow haven't seen this game at this point in time, definitely take a peek. It's
rhythm violence is that like a crime that they can charge you with, or
I'm pretty sure in like 3 or 4 states.
Really bad?
Yeah,
really bad at keeping a beat.
Well, that, or it's like the Osmonds or something like that, which is just really terrible music. But in this case, this is like
fans,
it's true. Turns out the Venn diagram of Super Robinson Bros fans and the Osmonds is just like a straight overlap. Who knew?
Huge.
Yeah, we got to co-market to Osmond fans.
That's a great idea.
No, this game is like it's kind of almost like if you ever played that game Frequency back in the day on like PS2, where you're like on this track hurtling down and trying to, instead of like playing music, your job is to hit notes in the right lane as you're hurtling down this like almost like a I don't even know, like a roller coaster style thing. And that's what this game is, except it's at 3,000 miles an hour.
An amazing musician. Oh, it's incredible. I'm playing music.
And so in that game, it was more about like, okay, now I'm going to switch over to the guitar track and go back over to the drums track. This game is just, there's like, it's all about the rhythm. So you're just kind of tracking the beat, and it is going at 3,000 miles an hour, and it is hyperkinetic. Every time you miss, you feel it in your gut. This is a game that will cause almost eye strain as you look at it, because first off, it's beautifully rendered. It's just almost like this weird psychedelic version of hell that you're kind of in, and you're playing as this weird like metal beetle. I don't even know, nothing I'm saying right now makes any sense to anybody, but like It is a terrific game if you're interested in rhythm games and you also are interested in difficult games that'll challenge you. This is
completely shoot your nerves.
Yeah, it is a game that demands a lot of a high degree of accuracy in terms of like your ability to like hit those beats. It's not gonna suffer fools. But
you play this on it with a controller? I can just imagine like a white knuckle, just
or that's exactly what this
on a keyboard or something.
I did not play it on keyboard. I played it on controller, even on PC. I think it's on mobiles now, and yeah. I actually played a little bit of it in VR as well, and that is a terrifying thing in VR, because there's like no escape, because the soundtrack is just this almost just, it's like somewhere between like dubstep and stomp, where it's just like,
oh god,
I don't it just like resonates in your soul, but in a very satisfying way when you pull it off, when you execute the level and you like move on to the next thing and you beat the boss. My only complaint with this game is that like it's not the longest game, and number 2 is that it's a little bit repetitive. Like, I kind of wish you would see more things in terms of like the environments you explore, the boss battles.
Yeah,
you definitely do get new mechanics as you progress, but like it kind of looks the same. Still, taken in short bursts, this game is a ton of fun, especially like me if you like rhythm and difficult games. So
I can't imagine though, like doing that in VR. it would be like the worst case. If you're like on a long ride, car ride, train ride, or something like that, and you get off and you're just like feel like you're still moving. I think it would be that times 1,000. Just vomit everywhere. Gross.
Jeez.
No thanks.
I'm not getting.
So on that note,
yeah, don't get in a car with Nick.
What do you think you got? What do you think you gave this thing?
I gave this a 4. I think I'm betting a 4.
Man, okay, this you've taken all the mystery and fun out of this.
Should I just try
yes,
to?
You gave it a 4.
Okay. Well, wow!
All
what
right.
a surprise!
Yeah.
Wow. I thought I gave it a 1. I loved it.
Now?
No.
You wouldn't? You still give that a 4?
I'd still give it a 4. That game, that's a game that sticks with you in terms of like being able to complete it, as well as like it's still got a very iconic look and feel to it. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Metal Beetle games hurling through space.
You haven't checked out the Metal Beetle tag on Steam? There's like so many games now. Just ripping this one off.
Metal Beetle. Oh, that's a great name for my new band. Thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
All right. So final game for that one listener who's still here. Thank you. This is the last time we'll ever talk about a Gamepad Inc. game. Saving the best for last. Urja.
Oh,
Urja?
no.
Is that how you pronounce that?
No.
Urja?
We're ending Gamepad Inc.
URJA.
on Urja. Oh, that's not how we wanted this to go. Urja, yeah, URJA. What a game. So, boy, where to start? I was attracted to Urja. I don't know how I even found out about Urja. I was interested in Urja because it was a chess game, ostensibly, and I was like, "Oh, I like chess."
It's like a confession of a drug addict or something.
Yeah. My first encounter with Urja was when I was the lowest point in my life.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for it. It found me.
It found me. And I was never the same afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Urja, so it was a chess game. And I was like, this is interesting. And then I was like, it's chess shooter? It's like a first-person chess combat thing? I'm like, okay, we'll try this. So, yeah, it's a first-person shooter with, like, chess theming. But in reality, that doesn't matter at all. And the game is basically just a series of arena battles in first person. Man, it's been so long since
arena, as in like you're just like literally a pawn or something, and you're just going in there to fight.
Okay.
People.
Yes, actually, you mentioning that reminds me. So the way it works is that it's just random abstract environments that you're in. How does a pawn
hold a gun?
Well, so you fire your energy at other chess figures, and like different chess figures have different types of attacks, but they're all just basically mortar attacks or just like energy attacks at another character, and it's terrible, man. So you're like,
is chess energy? Is it something to be
chess energy?
Because you fire this chess energy at other people, does it hurt them?
Oh man, So what I remember is that first off, it's only single player. So you're in this 3D arena first person shooter.
To play that with
they're just bots running around, and the only cool thing about the game was that you had to, in order to win, I think you had to be like, you had to progress all the way to the king rank. So it was like after you killed the first thing, you became a knight, and then you became a bishop. I want to say that's how it worked. But that progression didn't really mean anything other than like maybe your attack changed. It's a terrible game. If you just want like the most bare bones arena combat for me means like you're in a tight controlled environment where you can't leave. It's just like you respawning, trying to kill guys, and then getting killed, and then respawning again and doing the same thing. It's kind of like Quake 3 is like a classic arena shooter.
I was just gonna think, yeah, that sounds like my experience in Quake.
Yeah, okay. So imagine Quake, except none of the controls were good. There were bugs constantly. The bots were like unfair and totally random. Also, like they would just like you'd look over and like another knight is just like punching a hole into a wall and just running against it for no reason. It was
That's
really difficult
in chess, I think.
And I don't even want to talk about this game anymore. It's so terrible. I don't even know why we're still talking about it. I don't even know why it has a chess theme. It doesn't have anything to do with chess. It's just like really they decide. It's like someone had a Quake 3 mod and decided that they were going to make it chess themed.
Oh my gosh!
And then also bad. So yeah. Well.
So 5.
If you want to build suspense on this, it's either a 1 or a 2. I think it was a 1. I think
Yes. Was this the only one we've given? Man, I hope so.
it might be the only one we ever
That's pretty
gave.
bad. Yeah, it's a 1.
We definitely we didn't go
Wow.
seeking bad games. That was not our mission. So sometimes our patrons would send us bad games, but
Well, come on. They're all good games from our patrons because we love them.
we love them all equally.
But some of them did feel a little bit like it was some kind of setup,
Yeah, it's a trap.
Just saying.
So yeah, that was Urja. You know what, Nick? I am never gonna forgive you for ending our final Gamepad
There you
Inc.
go.
sequence and review with
Well,
Urja.
there's only one direction to go. So
Just
Super
wash
Robinson
ourselves of all of this.
That's
clean,
right.
clean the stink off of us and move forward, not as Gamepad Inc., but as Super
right.
Robinson Bros.
That's right. We'll be reviewing a lot because I don't know what year this thing came out. Anyway.
You just cut out for me for a second. Yeah, we're gonna be reviewing a bunch of new stuff starting in May. So thanks to anybody for sitting around listening to all this lightning round nonsense. Check out all these comics existed and will be posted for patrons as Lost Comics here on patreon.com/Super Robinson Bros in the next week or two. And we'll start new stuff on May 1st and write a whole new chapter for Super Robinson Bros. But I think we're in this for the long haul this time. We learned a lot from our first year of doing Gamepad Inc. But we had a ton of fun too. We're really looking forward to coming back. And I want to put a special thanks out for everyone who's ever been a patron for us, ever been a follower for us, who pay attention to our stupid little side project here. Sorry, only Nick's part was stupid. My part was really good.
Whoa!
But it's meant the world to us to have people that care about it, that are supporting it. We've really enjoyed playing games with you. Honestly, this is why we started doing it, is because we enjoyed playing games with each other and talking about them. So I hope with the new structure, I hope more of you guys come and join our Discord, join our play along channel, play games with us as we progress. And hey, hopefully the comics have gotten better too. I think they have, but we'll see.
You be the judge at home.
Nick, come on, you're supposed to be a company man here. You're supposed to be
Thank
positive.
you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And like Nate said, come on in the Discord. We're really hoping to hit that a lot harder this time around and have more discussion in there. So we'll be hanging out in there. Tell us what you think about anything. You like the same games? You don't like the games? You don't like our take? You don't like Nate? Whatever, just tell us.
Who could hate this face? I don't know.
All right. I think that seems like a great place to end it.
Yep.
Thanks again. And we'll be back very soon.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe out there, everybody.
Stay safe.
See ya.